Hey, I'll just raise my hand. I'll do this.
Oh boy, Rick,
This is
you want to
my
call
yes
in?
vote.
Rick, you don't want to call in since your sound is bad again?
No, it's more fun this way.
All right.
You're fine.
You know what's more fun?
Fortunately, there shouldn't be much to vote on, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, Stephen, we're all
Yep.
set and we are recording now.
Debbie, if I can, before you start, I do not see the city attorney logged in. Is there any chance he's in the waiting room or?
Let me check.
Hello?
You've never had this before.
I do not see him in the waiting room. Did you want to give him a quick call, Scott?
I just sent him a message asking him if he's having problems, so.
Okay, well, we should be able to get started. I mean, if there's anything we need to clear with him, then we can do
He's out to Somerset Mall. I saw a picture on TV.
All right, everyone. Well, it is 7:03, so let's go ahead and get started here. If we could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic
One nation.
one nation,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
All right. Well, we will call the meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. And what is hopefully, barring something crazy, will be our last virtual council meeting before we can get back to being in person. Thank you there. So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Von Crooks,
Here.
Benedetti,
Oh boy.
Here.
looking for Rick on my screen. Oh, Benedetti.
Here.
Okay, he's giving me a thumbs up, so he's here. Cabawatton,
Present.
LaFever,
Here.
Pate,
Here.
Perugi,
Virtually here.
Rizeppa,
Here.
quorum present, Mayor Rizeppa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. First item we have on the agenda tonight is the minute approval for the May 26, 2020 public hearing and regular meeting.
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any further questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Benedetti,
Thumbs up.
Benedetti, did he give me a thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Cabawatton,
Yes.
LaFever,
Thumbs up.
Pate, Perugi,
Yes.
Rizeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
I'm working on it.
carried, Mayor Rizeppa.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next item we have on the agenda is public comment regarding items on today's agenda. So we ask that this public comment be limited to items on today's agenda. Anyone wishing to speak, please state your name and address, direct all questions through me, the chair, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Again, this is strictly for today's agenda items. Do we have anything? Also, if you were able to raise your hand under the participants tab on the bottom of your screen, that's the easiest way for the clerk to get you called on here if you're able to do that.
Whoa.
Did we have any hands up, Madam Clerk?
There are no hands raised.
All right, seeing none, we'll move right on along here. Next item, under general, we will have 2 items related to the 33rd court, and I will turn it over to our district court delegate, Councilman LaFever.
Oh, geez, I don't have my packet here. You believe that? I didn't put anything on there. Can you help me out? What's on there?
Yes,
Yeah,
so
there's
we
two
have,
things on there.
2 things?
Yep.
if you would like to make the motion, it would be to receive and place on file the fines, costs, and fees for March 2020, showing the city of Trenton owing $9,877.25, and the
So moved.
costs and fees for April 2020, showing the city of Trenton owing $25,945.79, submitted by the 33rd District Court.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Cablewatten,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Brizeppa,
Yes.
Von Crook,
Yes.
Benedetti.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion
Nice.
carries, Mayor Brizeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next one, also 33rd District Court, and Councilman LaFever, I could just read it if that's all right with you.
Yeah, you might think of much.
No problem. So it would be asking for a motion from the council to receive and place on file the 2020 first quarter court technology payment submitted by the district court, showing the city of Trenton receiving $3,585.
So moved.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Oh, I think we can see on one of them, Rick.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Was there more discussion? Or are you ready for a roll call?
oh, I'm ready for the roll call. I just wanted to make sure
Okay,
Rick
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
interjecting for a discussion.
Okay.
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 Nope, shaking his head
LaFever?
no. So.
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Brizeppa,
Yes.
Von Crook,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Cablewatten.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Brizeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item on the agenda we have from me, City Administrator here. We'll turn it over to Mr. Church. Temporary waivers to certain outdoor dining regulations.
Thank you, Mayor. As you indicated, resolution before you tonight for your consideration would authorize the implementation of temporary waivers for certain outdoor dining regulations in order to promote local businesses in the city of Trenton and state of Michigan's recovery. What this will do is with the reopening of restaurants and bars, would allow with the limited capacity or occupancy that would be provided by the state for additional seating by waiving restrictions on outdoor seating, whether it be for the food or beverage portion of the services. And I would like to point out, after reviewing with the city attorneys, if anything were to be in the public easement, that it would be something that we would require a liability listing of the city as an additional insured and indemnification language acceptable to our insurance carrier. That would all be part of the administrative approval process, though. But your favorable consideration is requested.
So moved.
Support.
It has been moved and supported, and for purpose of discussion too, I just want to make clear this is actually something we started batting around late last week, having no idea it would become so applicable so soon. But just sort of what this will essentially do is give us a process to, we know that as bars and restaurants reopen, it's going to be on a reduced capacity, and so this will allow us to allow them to use additional outdoor seating than they may already currently have, as long as it fits and conforms with specs by our building department and our police department to ensure that everything's still safe. So should allow hopefully to inject some more liveliness and money back into some of our small businesses here in town. So I just wanted to make motion of that. So we've got motion and support. Is there any further discussion from council?
You talking about bars also?
Okay, so we'll
Mayor.
do Councilwoman Fever, then Councilwoman Pate. Oh, yep, I'm sorry. Madam Clerk.
Okay, I was just going to mention Councilwoman Pate has her hand raised.
Okay. So yeah, Councilman LaFever, go ahead there.
You want me to go or Wendy?
You go ahead, Bill.
Thank you,
Go ahead.
Wendy. I'm just concerned about the bars, okay? They're gonna need a
Yes,
permission to have alcohol outside.
correct. They would have to get this is actually an allowable thing that they set up last week through the Liquor Control Commission, that they have to get approval for that as well.
So they can stay outside till 3 a.m. drinking?
No. That is that again is why we're adding in that layer of local control too, with making sure there's approval from the police department and building department on this, because yeah, we've got to still keep some sense to this and still enforce all the current ordinances and things related to that we still have on the books too.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Councilwoman Pate.
Yeah, thanks, Bill, for asking that question, because that was one of mine also, as a means of how we contain that audience of people who may be drinking into certain locations and that. So that answers that part of that question. I am in favor of this. I think it is something that I have been reading about and hearing about on all the webinars. So I wanted people to know that this is a suggested thing that cities do, regardless of whether there's a pandemic or not, to encourage business in downtown cities or cities in general. And I also posted that we'd be talking about this tonight on my Facebook page, and there were several positive comments. They might not be on this feed for public comment, but just wanted to reiterate that there was a lot of support for this. And then my only other follow-up is something that we were working on for a Trail Town event, included outdoor vendors, such as crafters and artisans and stuff like that. And it was difficult to have enough room to put them on the streets downtown because of the space that actually the sidewalk is quite narrow compared to other cities. And so we were trying to come up with creative ways of where to put them and so forth. So it says that there's got to be a 4-foot walkthrough, but I'm wondering if there is anything we can do also, not just for our bars and restaurants, but if you've seen any resolutions out there that allow a store to be able to put things out like as a sidewalk sale. If I know they're restricted to the number of people indoors, but maybe we could look at how we can help other businesses as well to vend out on the streets or on the sidewalks, do sidewalk sales.
Yeah, I'm certainly open to that. I think that's a really good idea. I haven't seen anything specifically related to retail like that. But yeah, I certainly don't see why not. That it's something small we can do that makes things a little easier for them to get back up and running while we can.
Yeah, I think they'd appreciate it as well. I mean, I feel like this resolution has probably been out there for bars and restaurants, but there could be something out there for small business as well.
Sure, absolutely. I would definitely take
you.
a look at that. Do we have any further questions or comments from council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi,
Yes.
Rizeppa,
Yes.
Von Crooks, let me
Looks
see
like
if
she's
I
on
might
mute.
have
She's
to
muted.
mute it.
Did you hear me?
No,
Nope.
I did not.
Oh, they must have muted me. No, I said yes.
Okay, thank you. Benedetti,
Yes.
Cabawatton,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
motion carries. Mayor Rizeppa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next on the agenda, we'll turn it over to our Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Benedetti, for our authorized disbursements.
And Madam Clerk, can you help me with that by raising
I
that thing
sure
up?
will. Yep,
Thank you.
there you are.
Oh, where'd it go? Make a motion to authorize disbursements for June 1st, 2020, amount of $49,434.96.
Support.
Has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Perugi,
Yes.
Rezepa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Campbell Watton,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
Pate.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rezepa.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Benedetti. Seeing nothing for reports, we did not have any late items, correct, Madam Clerk?
No, we do not.
Okay, wonderful. So now we're on to other council business, and I'm going to be extremely brief with this, as I've tried to give an update on it every time we've come around. I think last Tuesday when we met, I gave an update that we were at 142 positive COVID-19 cases in Trenton with 9 fatalities. And today that number is 143 cases with 9 fatalities. So really in this 6-day time frame, only 1 additional positive test from Trenton residents. So obviously a very, very good sign. Not out of the woods by any means, but we've come certainly a very, very long way. I think that I probably exhausted everything last time around. Just wanted to remind everyone about the recycling event this Friday and Saturday at the Kennedy Recreation Center parking lot as well. I believe those hours are 8 to 4. Trenton residents only. Please make sure you have your ID. And this is only for recyclable materials at this point. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to take metals, oils, other drop-off air, but we do plan to have the transfer station fully operational by June 12th, and might even be able to see what we can do to bump that up too. So we'll see, but that's actually all I have for us this evening here. So I think we left off last time, and we'll be beginning with Councilman LaFever.
Great, thank you. I'm sure some of you are in shock if you watch Channel 4. Tonight, the lead story was about the city of Westland, which opened up today. The city opened up today, and Mayor Weil said they started calling back the 65% of the employees that were furloughed. They started calling back for employment in the city of Westland. 65% of the employees were on furlough in Westland, okay? What plan do we have for open City Hall? Or do we have a plan?
Yeah, we do, and I'll kind of turn this over to let Administrator Church take away some of the specifics, just botching this, but everyone's been back today. For the most part, people have been back over the last couple weeks, some working on staggered schedules, but today is
it open? Is the city open?
So we do not have it open to the public entirely yet. We've been doing a by appointment only for each department at this point. And some of the, each department's needs are very different. But actually, Administrator Church, if you want to take it away to plug in from here too.
Certainly. To answer your question, Councilman, City Hall has been open and operating throughout the closure. To
the public?
We have for the last week or two been open by appointment. So if anybody, but throughout the shutdown, we have been, whether somebody needs a birth certificate, a death certificate, making payments at the drop box. I believe it was on May 8th. We opened as far as the building department, as far issuance of building permits and scheduling of inspections, code enforcement, outdoor issues. I don't believe they're entering people's occupied dwellings yet for any inspections. But things are by appointment. We do have our Human Resources Director coordinated some COVID testing that is going to be taking place this Thursday and Friday for all city employees. We will have the results on that. Our expectation to be fully open on Monday of next week, but we're going to continue to be by appointment until that time. And again, encouraging remote or Dropbox operations until then. And please understand that the frustration, we've had an ever-changing goalpost. It keeps, every time we think we have it figured out, a new executive order comes out and changes the standard. But our Human Resources Director, our Emergency Management Coordinator, worked very hard trying to coordinate a return to work plan. Those were all distributed to employees today. But as of today, everybody is at work, or if they are not they are working remotely, or if they are not working remotely, they are being charged time off.
Not at work.
Scott, that's fine, but we're not open. You know what I'm saying? We got to open up. The door has to be unlocked and you have to grab the door. To say you're open, you can't get in. That's just foolishness. That to me is not open.
No, open means accessibility.
Open means what?
I'll cut it. So just for this, at this point too, I mean, there was still reduced occupancy of even businesses and other dwellings and things like that too. So, we didn't want a situation where there's 100 people waiting in line at the, to register to vote or something like that too. That's why it's been operated on and frankly, that there's been people waiting at the door and that have knocked on the door and things like that have been let in. And obviously that's a less than ideal situation. But I feel confident that we're at least getting there. And, had we known that we were going to get the everything lifted that was at 3 p.m. today, we would have been able to plan for that. And unfortunately we weren't. But we found out just the same time as everyone else.
I would like to also point out, we do not have the screens installed yet. They've been measured and fitted. They have not been installed as far as the protective screening at the counters for each of the offices within City Hall. I don't have an installation date for those, but those are supposed to be in any day as I understand it. I understand, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Councilman, as far as our desire to be open and accessible to the public. We're also trying to do what we can to protect our employees because as far as truly being open to the public, we have a requirement, as I understand it, to have certifications of every employee on a daily basis, but every visitor who's coming into the building, doing a tracking of, are they running a fever? Do they have any symptoms? Have they been hospitalized, or have any of their family members been hospitalized within 14 days? So we've been working through a lot of those things. Again, they seem to change every few days on us, but we're trying our best to get open as soon as we can.
Scott, it's been 10 weeks. We don't have any plexiglass up yet.
It is not up yet. That is something that has been coordinated through the city engineer or through our facilities department. I don't think we were the only employer that was looking for installation. We are having permanent glass put in, not just a temporary pop-up version of it. So, and I just got to mention that the glass installation is scheduled for Wednesday.
Right. Okay, good. So you're very confident next Monday, if we're going to open the front door, it will be unlocked, and I'll see you some people in there.
As the executive order states today, that is my understanding.
Okay, that sounds great. I hope you get back to business. We need it. Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilman. Next up, Councilman Perugia.
I have nothing for you today, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Perugia. Next up, Councilwoman Pate. Oh, you're on mute.
Mute. I was trying to be so good, sorry. Yeah, if you give me a few minutes, I'd like to read a statement. And I think it's, as you'll understand, it'll be productive at the end of what I would like to work on, but just I wanted to make sure I prefaced it with some background information. So on June 1st marks the beginning of Pride Month. I've heard people object, why do we have this month or that? Personally, I celebrate Pride Month so that my closest, dearest friends who happen to live in Trenton can buy a cake from any bakery to celebrate their anniversary. So they can hold hands while walking in Elizabeth Park on our trails without being ridiculed, and feel that they are cared for by their neighbors without having to hide themselves. The most important thing we can do to celebrate the promise of America is to raise awareness of the marginalized so that everyone has equal access to that promise. It is exhausting work. One of my students told me yesterday about the unspoken code at his university in San Francisco that is making him physically sick as he tries to abide by this code and stay quiet. Trenton is no exception. I'd like to take a minute to raise awareness of the minority experience in Trenton and what we can do to make this a welcoming and safe city for everyone. In 2017, 7.5% of our population which equates to about 1,367 people, are identified as being minority descent. If you're not part of that 7.5 minority population, it's easy not to think about what Trenton can sometimes look like from that perspective. And this may not be easy to hear. But on July 4th of 2005, a burning cross was found in the front of an interracial couple on Margaret Court. In both July and September of 2016, racial hatred flyers attributed to the KKK were distributed along Trumbull Street. Most recently, a person was concerned about campaigning door to door because of their racial background. I've heard of Confederate flags taunting students in our high school, and an office manager I was working with on a downtown event expressing to me that she was pulled over several times in the past year since she began working in Trenton. A neighbor of mine works at a large company, and her Black coworkers also had the same idea about Trenton, that they did not feel welcome here. Even today, a resident reached out to me to act to protect Trenton's Black community. Trenton residents, law enforcement, and staff have met each incident with outrage and grace at dealing with these issues in a positive manner. But we must remain vigilant and address the less visible, quieter things that make a place less welcoming. The nation is calling on the rest of the 92.6% of Trenton to continue doing the hard work it takes to make our city feel welcome and safe. I don't purport to know how to run a police department, any city department, or a business, but I have taught in public schools with a more diverse population, and I've seen how climate and culture can affect people in those environments. What can a city do to create a more welcoming atmosphere? People look for leadership to guide the culture, and it can begin with us, our council, administration, and staff. Now is a good time to revisit our operating policies and continuing education to ensure that we are welcoming to the thousands of people from all over the world who will visit our International Wildlife Refuge, to ensure that we encourage more diversity in bringing new businesses to Trenton, that hiring policies are diversified, that real estate agents show homes for sale in Trenton to people of all backgrounds, that our youth reads about our past, and that our graduates learn about our present to be able to influence the way we look tomorrow. It sounds like a big task, but as a beloved Trenton swim coach once said, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. A resolution on being a safe and welcome city can be a first step toward defining a goal and declaring our desire for a welcoming culture. There are other cities that have done this, such as Berkeley, Royal Oak, etc. If we do not have one, then I would like to begin working on one. It is the foundation that we can use to make other changes. I ask that all citizens of residence feel that they can open up to us, share their stories and concerns so that we can be better together. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, were you finished, Councilwoman Pate?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Councilwoman Von Crux, did you have something?
Yeah, Wendy, I don't know if you know this or not, but approximately 7 years ago, we formed a resolution on a non-discriminatory policy for the city of Trenton. So we've already done that. Trenton has always been a welcoming community, not only by who we hire, but who we dine with, church with, whatever we do. I've never known Trenton to be a discriminating city. And if people feel unsafe here or feel that they're discriminated against, maybe that's their own insecurities at times, because we have set a policy, and I think Scott Church can probably elaborate on it. But I say come one, come all. And to me, everybody is welcome in the city of Trenton, and is, never have I ever seen it on the council that we've discriminated against who we hire or who we accept in our community. So I think if you look back at that policy, it was when Tim Taylor and Terry Teifer were on the council, and we had some issues with, gay rights and, LGBTQ, whatever. And I think if you look back at the policy, we already, signed a policy or signed an ordinance, a non-discriminatory ordinance. I think Scott could probably elaborate on that.
Yes, thank you, Timber. You are correct. It was November 12th, 2013, and Article 10. It was a human rights ordinance was passed. that is codified in our city code right now.
Yeah, I was right. It was 7 years ago. Yes.
Good to hear. Thank you for that information. I'll look that up.
Yep. Yep. I just want people to feel welcome here, and I hate this nonsense, and I hate what's going on right now with all these cities. So, it's not what Trenton's about. That's all.
Keep it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Thank you both very much. And yeah, no, it was actually passed at the last meeting before I got sworn in. So
Yep.
I couldn't vote for it. So, but yeah,
Yep.
no, we've had the human rights ordinance there. And I think we were one of the first like 20 cities or so in the state of Michigan to pass something
Yep.
like that.
Right.
It was very
exactly. Royal Oak, Ann Arbor, there were quite a few. Berkeley, there was quite a few that, got on board.
Yeah, if we could repost that, perhaps, I think that would be, so I can reach out to community members that have been reaching out to me. I think that would be, I can find it as well, but if somebody has quick
Yeah,
access to that,
if you don't mind just emailing it out to all of us, that'd probably be good.
Yep,
All right.
glad
Did
to
you have
do that.
anything else, Councilwoman Pate?
No, that was it for tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Cabowatton.
Good evening, everybody. Try to make this quick. Again, I'd just like to thank everybody on the front lines in the city here that's been working very hard to try to maintain a sense of normalcy and in the delivery of city services. I also want to thank Joanne Gagne and your department for all the great work, and probably some volunteers as well, that you guys have been doing at the cultural center. Especially with the gardens over there. My son Connor loves to ride his bike over in the parking lot and check out the gardens and run around the place. So he's probably beat the grass down a little bit, but believe me, it's growing back quite nicely. So no, the place looks great, and just a great job on that. I'd also I had the opportunity today to be on a call with the Southern Wayne County Chamber, and representatives of Gary Peters' office was on the phone, and I do have to say I'm impressed by everyone that is looking out for the best interests of downriver and whole, including Trenton, during this this COVID-19 crisis, especially as we're talking about rebounding. And trying to get small businesses back, small, medium, and large businesses back in business and back and running normally. There is a team of people working behind the scenes, and I'm going to forget some names, but obviously our partners with Senator Peters, Debbie Dingell, state House and Senate representatives, folks in Washington, folks at the county level, and our partners at the Southern Wayne County Regional Chamber, as well as the Downriver Community Conference, Jim Perry, Jim Wagner, Ron Henricks, and so on and so forth. So I just want to, I really want to thank all those folks. I did this morning on the call, and I want to continue to thank them, because there's a lot of people behind the scenes that are trying to be, 4, 5, 6 steps ahead, as well as this administration. It's really important that as things are lifted, as we're going to see here in the near future, that we're able to start moving back into a direction of normalcy and try to get things back in line. So I do want to thank everybody for all of their efforts, because this has been quite a monument of a task to get through. So that's all for tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Thank you very much, Councilman. We appreciate that. Councilwoman Von Crooks.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Mayor Pro Tem Benedetti.
Well, I do. And I apologize because some of us forgot about this last Tuesday. We had one of our firefighters retire last week, and we forgot to mention that. And I do apologize. I know Chris is probably not listening, because the first week you retire, the last thing you want to do is watch one of these, trust me. So
I believe
think
you.
Everybody needs to know that Chris Klein retired after 25 years working for the city. He lived in the city the whole time he worked here, except the last year or so after he got remarried. And I want to say that I worked with Chris. He was a great firefighter. He was a good officer, I heard. I did not work for him. He got promoted after I left. But I want to say Chris was a great guy. We were sorry to lose him because he's one of them that did his job, came in, cared about the city like everybody else that works here. He never complained, never really tried to balk at anything. So I just want to make sure that people know that Chris retired, and I don't know if he'll come back, but we have to try. One of our meetings that we finally get to come back into the building for and try to do a presentation for him like we do every other employee that leaves.
We actually already have Leah setting that up. So hopefully
cool.
next meeting that he'll be there.
Thank you. And Wendy, I want to thank you for your speech and your comments there. I can tell you, having somebody that was born and raised in Trenton and went through some of those issues at the high school, that it is good to know that people are out there that care, because there were times that it did happen. Let's all be honest, it did happen in this town. And we try to get ahead of it, and we try to convince people, look, that is not the way we work. That is not what Trenton's about. Trenton's about bring everybody in. If you want to live here, and enjoy the stuff that we enjoy. So I appreciate that, Wendy. Thank you so much for that. Besides that, Stephen, I don't have anything else.
Great. Thank you very much, Rick. And yeah, could not agree more there. It's fantastic. So, all right, our other elected officials, Madam Clerk, do you have anything for us tonight?
I would like to just say that the next regular council meeting is Monday, June 16th. Oh, I'm sorry, June 15th. And are we going to say at this time that it will be in the chambers, or do you want to say that we are going to do one more Zoom meeting?
We'll plan for in the chambers. It's been a moving target for us, but much more hopeful this time around than I have been before. So hopefully we can finally see everyone in person again.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Can you get a
So
haircut?
as of now, it's looking like we will have our first in-person meeting on Monday, June 15th in the council chambers at 7 p.m.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yep, Wendy.
If we can meet in person, are we going to consider adding on some study sessions and so forth? Because we've been waiting on quite a few things of business, and just a thought.
Yeah, we're going to have to sift through how we prioritize doing which ones when and whatnot, because there's quite a bit that's been backed up on this here. But yeah, I mean, I'd expect that we'll have quite a few in the next 2-3 months or so.
Thank you.
And Director Voss has his hand raised, so I'm wondering if he's going to tell us some more news on.
Director Voss, did you just have a comment for department heads or something related to this?
No, I was just waiting for when you give the department heads a chance.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's
Is
it
that all,
for
Madam
me.
Clerk?
Yes, that's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, our assessor, John Dahlquist, do you have anything for us tonight? Mr. Dahlquist?
Debbie's probably got him all muted.
Let me see. One moment.
Yep. He's trying to open his flip phone.
You mean rotary?
Might be.
He's feeding the pigeons. They're bringing their message now.
Am I unmuted yet?
You are.
Okay. Hi, Stephen. This is John. The only thing is I have the L4029 ready for your signature and for Debbie's signature. So I was hoping after this meeting I could catch up with you too before you leave tonight and get you to sign the document.
Sure can.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Is that all, Mr. Douglas?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And Mr. Church, I heard the flip phone comment.
All righty. But yeah, I'll be sure to get those from you before we head out of here. So thank you very much. So our treasurer,
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
McCullough.
Glad to hear John still has a good sense of humor. Anyways, I want to thank council and administration for paving the way and leading by example, because you are the canary in the mine. Since you're having a meeting on Monday, the Fire and Police Pension will have its meeting in person, the commission's room, on Wednesday. So We were just sort of waiting for you. I think that's appropriate that we do it that way. And I think all of us would agree that it's about time. Number two, and that you may know this, I know Scott and I talked about it, and certainly the clerk's office and the treasurer's office has been working on replacing the drop box outside. The new normal is that box has been used for a lot of things, including absentee votes, as well as payments, which nobody's allowed entrance to make their payments. So it's a larger box. It has more capacity, and it also has a larger opening so that larger envelopes can go in there. So that's going to happen probably in the next 2-3 weeks. So I thought that we'd bring that up to you. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCullough. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor.
So we will go on to our department heads now, and we'll get started with Director Voss, who's first one in.
The first one to raise my hand. Hey, good evening, Council and Mayor. I just wanted to let everybody know, I know this has been a long wait because of COVID, but yesterday we sent Officer Rusnick, who was our K-9 handler, and Officer Cavazos, who's in charge of our K-9 program, down to Lima, Ohio, and they picked out K-9 Stack. And they're extremely happy with the dog on the first day. But we're going to wait for any pictures to come out until we're absolutely positive that everything works out good. So he is now in training and will be put into service sometime after approximately 90 days.
Awesome. And I think just like with any of our officers, we've got to make sure that he first council meeting too.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
Director, what is he trained in?
He's going to be trained in controlled substances, not marijuana. He will be trained in tracking and control.
Okay, great.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Director Voss. Did you have anything else?
I do not.
All right. Thank you very much. We have any other department heads wishing to speak?
The fire chief doesn't want to tell everybody something.
I see a hand from Joanne, and then if the fire chief does have something after, we can do that one. So Joanne, feel free.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank Councilman Kebawat, I will share your comments regarding the cultural center with all of our volunteers. They have been working extremely hard throughout all of this, and taking social distancing, doing their work, making sure that those gardens are beautiful for everyone. So thank you for those comments, and I will be sure to pass them along.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you very much, Joanne. Chief Creech, did you want to share anything?
He's got the other flip phone.
Lead the way.
Actually, I was driving, but that's good. So I sent a council out a message with a picture. We did put the new engine 112 in service today. Actually, ladder 111 is going to be out of town. It has a blown head gasket, so it'll be out of service for a little bit. But engine 112 was put in service today. I want to thank you guys for your support in acquiring this vehicle. It was desperately needed, and I think it's going to serve the citizens and visitors to Trenton quite well in the coming years. And when we do a meeting in person or whatever, I'll make sure it's out front so you can at least walk by it and see how your tax dollars were spent.
Great. Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it. All right. Any other department heads wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will move into public comment here. So anyone wishing to speak, please begin with your name and address. We ask that you please direct all questions through me. and that you limit any comments you may have to 5 minutes. Again, we ask that you put your hand on the participants tab section there, bottom, and so that way it's easier for our clerk to see and unmute everyone here.
I do not see any hands raised. I believe everybody can unmute themselves if they would like to speak.
Okay, yeah, we'll just do
If
a.
you would,
Cooper, you're man.
would you want me to unmute
We do have,
all
we do
just
have
in
one hand
case?
that's come up here from a Matt McClelland.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So, Mr. McClelland.
Good evening, Mayor Rizeppa and Council. I'm just calling in as a parent, both of high schoolers and of swimmers. Curious about if there's opportunity to revisit the closing of the city pool for the summer, given the recent changes to the ruling within the state of Michigan, taking another look at what the likelihood is of the spread of COVID, specifically in a swimming pool. The articles that I've read tend to state mostly that given the amount of chlorine in a typical pool, the risk of transmittal is lower there than in most instances. And with recent articles just in the last few days indicating that it would seem that the virus itself is starting to lose its potency, as well as communicability. That I don't know. That's a little bit early to say, but for sure there's been for some time now a pretty solid school of thought, or train of thought, that the chlorine that's standard in a pool is going to kill off the virus that's there. Knowing that we have obviously a large open area at the pool and a lot of community members that are interested both in visiting there as just getting out of the house, a place of employment for some. I just want to know if that was going to be revisited. And I do understand that there was a ruling also at the county level that came out, I think, right after the city had made a statement. So knowing that there's still a lot of unknowns, is that something that can be revisited?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question and very timely given everything today. And I certainly appreciate that. I did a lot of reading on this as well. And this started just, and from what it seems right now, they think that, the transmission odds in a pool are very, very slim. It's, the concerns more become with the locker room, the facility, the deck chairs, the things of that nature, just sort of the closeness of people there. But yeah, unfortunately with the executive order today, the pool shutdown that kind of formally came down was through the Wayne County Health Department. They did so alongside the Macomb County Health Department, the City of Detroit Health Department, the Oakland County Health Department. And that actually supersedes the executive order because the county health department is the one that certifies us for opening. So even with the state's lifting of that order, it still does allow for the health departments to dictate how that works. And we have not seen anything that indicates from any of those counties that they're going to lift that just yet. I mean, and kind of just like with all this other stuff that could happen tomorrow, it could happen a month. We're kind of in the same holding pattern as everyone else. So unfortunately, we don't have the ability to open it up or reconsider opening up at this point. But I mean, I think going forward that, as part of our commitment to this, when we pass this budget, being, last week being a pretty fluid document, that if that does come from Wayne County, that they do give the clear that is a discussion we can at least have. I know that probably isn't the most ideal answer at this point, but unfortunately, according to the Wayne County Health Department, we do still have to remain closed indefinitely.
And this is Matt McClellan again. I appreciate the response. I know and I understand that Wayne County supersedes the authority of Trenton in this case. And my assumption, and it's just speculation at this point, is that with the new information that the order will be lifted, and that again pure speculation. I just wanted to understand if it was indeed lifted at the county level, would it be revisited at the city level? Sure.
I mean, it certainly could be. I don't want to make any promises and say that yes, 100% it's going to be open the day that happens or anything of that nature. But that's something that this body can definitely discuss, and I'm sure that I feel pretty comfortable speaking for everyone, saying that we've all talked about it, thought about it a lot, heard from a lot of folks a lot about it, and that's a conversation that we're at least willing to have together.
All right, I appreciate that. And as I look at the list of attendees, I know that there's a lot of other swim parents, people from the community that are also interested. So I know I'm the one that raised my hand, but I also recognize a lot of names on the list that are calling in, I think perhaps for the same reason. So thank you for the time.
Great, no problem. Thank you very much, Mr. McClellan.
Mayor.
We appreciate it.
Mayor.
Councilman LaFever.
Yeah, I appreciate what Matt said. But are we available? Are we ready to open that pool? I thought it needed repairs. We couldn't open it.
Oh, we wouldn't be able to open it tomorrow by any means if we did get the all clear. I know that we had started some of the work on it in terms of a time frame of how long it would take to get up and running. I'd probably have to defer to Joanne or Tim there. But I don't think it's something where it'd be like a month turnaround to anything like that. Joanne, do you have?
Yeah.
Or Tim, for that matter, either one of you.
I can chime in on that.
Sorry about that. I was having problems. Go ahead, Tim. I apologize. I was having problems getting unmuted.
No problem.
The repairs that we would be looking at making before we're getting the pool up and running would be a matter of a couple weeks at the longest. And that's something that we would be working on to get going. Our normal time of opening the pool full bore would not be until the middle of June anyway. So that would be similar to what time frame we'd be looking at.
Great. Get it ready.
Was that all, Councilman LaFever?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Tim, very much. I just want to make sure if we get okay and decide to do it, that we can open it. I don't know if we're going to vote for that or not, but I mean, I'll make sure we have the option to open it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, we'd have to come back before this body to just get approval for the supplement budget.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Mr. McClellan, I think I see your hand back up. I'm not sure if that was from before or not.
No, it was a follow-up question. I think you just answered it. I was going to ask if the money for the repairs had already been approved to be done for this swim season, or if that was monies that would need to be approved again. You mentioned something about a supplemental budget, so I'm unaware of.
Yeah, so the pool season kind of, our budget year goes from, begins on July 1st. So it kind of, part of the budget is the beginning of the pool season, and the second half of the pool season is in the future year's budget. So we had just approved the one beginning this current beginning July 1st, 2020. So we would just have to make an amendment to the budget to fulfill the funding for that portion of it. But yeah, we had already budgeted for this month of the year.
For this month of the year, but not including this repair work, is that correct?
Sorry, it cut out for a second there, but not including what?
You have already budgeted for the month of June, and that did not include the repairs necessary to open the pool?
I know that actually we had talked about that, so I just don't want to make sure don't want to misspeak there, because I know Tim, if you're still on here, if you could answer. I know we had talked about that at it was the last meeting or 2 meetings ago. Make sure I don't misspeak.
We're still waiting on an exact price of that pump. The pump actually has to be being pulled out and observed before it can tell us the exact price to be rebuilt. So I couldn't bring that in front of council as of yet to have your approval, but as soon as we get that approval, we'll be able to move forward. So.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you very much. We have anyone else from the public wishing to comment? All right, seeing none, I think we had a
Mayor, I believe we do have one more person.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Doyle.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Just a few things here. I'd like to thank the Mayor and the City Council for working with the school system to see the names of the seniors scroll across the Kennedy. That's very classy and that's very much appreciated. A couple weeks ago, the governor lifted the restriction on our bond work, so the schools continue to forge ahead in a very positive manner, get that work done, and we continue our meals program. We're going to go to June 30th, and we're providing about 600 meals a day to kids. We have pickup locations at Headkey, the high school, Southwick, and we run the Arthur's bus routes. And the best way to find information, again, as I always say, is www.trentonschools.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Doyle. Did we have any last ones, Madam Clerk?
I believe that's it.
All right, I think we had a motion and support already on the floor from Councilman LaFever and Councilwoman Von Crooks for adjournment. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll for adjournment?
Rezepa,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti,
Yes.
Kabawatan,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
Pate,
Yes.
Perugi.
Yes.
Motion carries, Mayor Rezepa.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you all very much. It's been a pleasure, but I think it probably, I feel pretty comfortable saying that 2 weeks will be the most excited I ever am to enter the council chambers. So
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you all there.
I fit in my pants.
Yep. Thank you. Good night.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Be
everybody.
safe.